That's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And what's going on, everybody? This is Dan French. This is a Saturday morning. This is the French Workbench Podcast here. And I got a couple of people in here. It's just me and Brett. You're going to host the shows today. What's going on, Brett? Brett Ginny. What's
we
going
have
on,
two other people minus one.
Yes. Doug is going to be back next Saturday, but we're going to just host the show today. Also, we're going to do a quick show. It's really going to just be about a quick update what's going on in the markets. We're not going to really dive too much into anything other than what's real estate related.
Yeah, not too
today.
much chitty chat, just kind of right to business
right
today.
to the point today. But I want to talk a little bit. So first off, thank you guys. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel. This is the most real behind the scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs happening here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French. And let's go ahead. Brett, what's going on, man? How you been?
I've been well, man. It was a busy week, man. A lot of kind of everyday life things happening that I had to take care of. And then, you know, went for a run this morning and nice and hot. I can't wait for it to cool down. So,
yeah,
man, good times.
Well, I can tell you right now that there's a lot of momentum out there in the real estate world. Rates still pretty high right now, so people are really, not really doing much.
Feds just raised them, didn't they?
No, they're going to talk about raising them at the end of the month, possibly. I think it's going to happen in September. We talked about that. So if that happens, I think it's going to really slow the economy down even more. Short-term bonds, but cost of living, cost of things going up. But, part of that is, do people really need to buy a house today? And we'll talk about the numbers and some of the challenges we're going through. Las Vegas, man, is on fire, though. A lot of people coming to Las Vegas. There's a lot of tourism going on. What do you see out there, man, in Las Vegas right now? You see a lot of people coming here, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the ultimate factor, or I should say the underlying factor underneath a lot of it, which is the market did switch as far as it wasn't continuing to escalate on a crazy scale going up like it was. But at the end of the day, the underlying factor behind all of it was supply.
Supply.
And, I think we discussed earlier this week that home buying activity has decreased 30 or 40%.
Yeah.
But home prices, at least in Las Vegas, have only gone down 3 or 4%, if even.
Well, we'll talk about those numbers here in a second.
So it's just kind of, so people are starting to pick back up, because of the underlying fact of there's not much supply in the market.
So things out there I'm starting to see is that Vegas is really starting to pick up with tourism because I think the football season's back. You're a cheesehead over here, right?
Yeah,
Wisco, right?
Absolutely, go Pack.
Yeah, so you got a lot of people coming here, man. And they saw an uptick recently that there's a lot more female sports betting going on where there's people that are getting involved. I don't know. I think that really drives a lot of people
Absolutely.
to Las Vegas.
That's a whole nother demographic it's the same reason why the NFL made a conscious decision about 10 years ago. What was it in the mid 90s? Back when we were in high school. Oh my God. But I think that the average NFL team was around 3 or 350 million, and now it's like 3 or 4 billion.
Isn't it crazy?
Crazy. Look at what they did. Remember like Ray Caruth?
Oh, yeah.
And remember they had all those, what they deemed thugs in the league, and they made a conscious decision. They said, we want to make it a lot more family oriented, involve women, involve children, make it family oriented, which has increased the revenue. And how do you do that? You need to make it family friendly. So they made a conscious decision. Plus, as the business grew, NFL, now they're looking to, probably most of it, I heard them say they're going to have live streamed or some kind of streaming service that they're going to associate with an NFL package, and that's pretty much going to be the future.
Well, I'm going to say this. You got football going on, college football. Even with all this inflation talk.
Baseball's going to be ending in October for the playoffs and World Series. Right. I mean, a ton of we're crazy busy, man.
Yeah, and also, too, you said that there was something that came out in the news, which is kind of crazy. We had a Review Journal person. You want to talk about that, right?
Oh, yeah.
This last week.
So, only in Las Vegas, man.
What happened?
I mean, only in Las Vegas. So there was a journalist that was stabbed to death at his house earlier this week. And then they started circulating surveillance cameras of, I don't know, it was cameras somewhere on other homes around the neighborhood. And it was somebody that was all covered in all this stuff, whatever it was. But they knew that person was involved. And they said, this guy was walking around the neighborhood. It looked like he was casing a joint. So at the time when the guy got stabbed, I thought, everyone said, oh, it's got because he was investigating this or he's investigating that story. Some people online were saying, oh, he was investigating the Chicago mob. Just all kinds of crazy things, right? And I'm like, whatever. It's just, Las Vegas, man. It was some guy who was randomly going to case out the neighborhood, and this guy was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It turns out that the guy that killed him was a politician here, a local politician. And he basically was pissed off at this journalist because this journalist had wrote what he deemed like a hit piece about him. Basically, long and short of it, this politician was a real asshole. And he had all these employees, females employees, males employees, that said he was like the worst boss in the world. He was a bully. He was an ex-attorney. And so they all started basically ratting him out to this journalist about what kind of guy he was. So this journalist wrote a piece on it a while ago. The guy ended up not getting reelected. This is like 2 months later. This guy was still so pissed off about it, about not getting reelected, that he went and killed him. This guy's got a wife and 3 kids.
Well, let me say
and here's
this.
the thing. At the politician level, it was like the lowest level politician, too. It wasn't even like a senator or something. Wow. Dude, think about it. He's got a wife and 3 kids.
The guy that I know the guy's name, and I feel like I've called him because when I was doing radio.
He was an attorney.
Well, I was doing radio. Mm-hmm. And I know I was calling through, and we had another guy that was doing a lot of real estate stuff with the Review Journal.
Yeah.
And so the Review Journal, right, and the Las Vegas Sun, I think they're connected. I think I've talked to that guy before because he wanted to potentially, we talked about him coming on, and then it kind of just fizzed out. And I kind of
journalist?
Yeah, I feel like I've talked to him once because I'm telling you, I was calling those people when I started radio to get in, and I know he's been there for a long time, so I remember that.
Yeah,
name.
he was there forever.
Yeah,
I mean it's insane. I mean, man, when you have employee after employee ratting you out, saying the same thing about you, it's probably true. And his only response, basically to the paper was, "Well, if they think that I'm a bad boss, they've never had a bad boss before." Like what a
right. It's like, okay.
And I mean, it's sad. I mean, this guy had such anger management issues that this is 2 or 3 months later, and now he's going to prison. I mean, dude, they found him like 2 days later. They arrested him. It wasn't even because all his employees said when they saw the surveillance on the news of the red, whatever SUV that he had, they said right away, all of them were like, they knew exactly who it was.
It's crazy, dude.
So
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of jackpots going on. So we're going to dive into this a little bit. So I think a lot of people tune into this show, which we love. It's everything Las Vegas, but we talk a lot about financing, real estate, a lot of information. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the real estate world right now. You're out there, you're showing properties, you have listings, you have things going on. Yep. I know that there's a lot of agents that are multiple reductions on properties. I'm telling you. And
so
it's crazy.
Here's where we're at right now. I think just yesterday alone, on a Friday going into the weekend, have you ever gotten email? So if you have a buyer set up on a search, and if they heart or favorite a property, like, on the MLS, you can see, well, it's called reverse prospecting, that if you're a listing agent, you can have it set up so that if another agent's buyer looks at your property or favorites it, you get a notification. So I got at least 4 of them yesterday from different agents saying, "Hey, I see your buyer favorited the property. Just so you know, here's the information." Like, it's funny because 6 months ago, these are the same agents who wouldn't even respond to an offer that was 20 grand over.
Yeah, so my thing is this though. It's
a buyer's market when.
My thing is that reverse prospecting really work? Because it doesn't, right? Because
it just annoys you, dude.
Here's my thing is that I think that it's you might get a lucky one, right? It might be something where, just kind of the stars aligned at that one. But it just seems like a lot of agents aren't. It's a good tool, but it's not really. It's not giving enough back where people are like, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to contact them."
It's because they don't know what else to do. And on where they're coming from, I get it in a sense because it's like, the odds are slim to none, and I'm probably wasting my time, but at least I'm doing something.
Right.
Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, they don't know what else to do. Properties aren't selling right now, and you've got your seller breathing down your neck, and really the only thing that's going to sell a property right now is the right price. Just be honest with you.
Well, also too, I mean, we go out, we take a look at some of these properties, and you and I have been out there. There was Blacktail over Pulte Homes over in Summerlin, and one of the things the guy was saying is that, dude, if you know anybody that can buy into this house, we'll give them an extra discount, throwing your name out there. So if you guys are out there and you know that, I mean, look, we've been at a lot of these builders. Here's my thing on this: is builders are offering a lot They're moving some, but it's still not moving. Even
Well,
with all that incentive.
So Blacktail by Pulte Homes opened 2 weekends ago, and as of last week, they had already sold 5 in the first 5 days. But I will say that it's in the newest of newest locations. It's getting further up on the hill in Summerlin. It's a 3-story with a rooftop deck included. So, and you're below 600,000.
Yeah, but is it because they put a lot of promotional thing going on? Like, think about it. No, it's all right around.
It's because of the price point and the kind of view that you can get with that rooftop deck. That's why they're selling.
550, 600.
Yeah, 600 because of the price point, and so they're already offering incentives as well. And then you and I, Ray, the sales agent, we've actually had him on the show here before.
Yeah.
And so on Propyland Tours, which is the YouTube channel we have for home tours, if you go to the videos on there, all you need to do is if you stop in there, say, hey, I saw Dan French or Brett Jenny's video on YouTube, and there's a whole extra incentive in there he's going to give you guys because we bring him a lot of business and we basically know how to set things up. Ray's a good guy. So
he's a good dude. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, out there, even with all these incentives, I mean, in these move-in ready homes and all these things that are on the market, maybe Blacktail is not a good example because it is new and it's priced out well. But other properties, other locations, I do feel like you're seeing the same builders sending out the same emails.
They are.
Right?
They're doing what they need. They're finding that line in the sand right now, right? They're basically in discovery phase right now. They're figuring out what price point things are selling at, and they're going to need to do for incentives. They're figuring out right now what's going to work and what's not going to work.
So writing an offer right now, if you're looking at it and saying, okay, what's on the table? We always say, people are starting to say, well, I'll buy your rate down. One of the ways that they're doing that is the seller's like, hey, listen, I'll give you X amount of money for closing costs. Plus, I'll give you an extra $5,000 or $10,000 to buy your rate down because where are rates at right now? They're way
basically. I'll give you 6% closing costs, but your closing costs are about 3%. So that's going to cover your lending fees and everything else from the lender.
Right.
And then that extra 3% you could use things to buy down your rate, which some builders are saying we'll give them rate at 3.9 right now.
Well,
how the hell is that not a good deal right now, man?
Well, here's the thing too: is the seller, right? Sellers of properties are doing that, not just the builders, but sellers
regular sellers as well.
It's like, okay, how do we sweeten the deal, right? How do you make it easier or better?
Not only is the home cheaper, but we're going to make your payment cheaper.
Right.
Man, that's what people don't understand, which is if you go and say, oh, I'm going to ask for less than purchase price, say it's a $500,000 house. It's not nearly as important getting that house for $475,000 and paying no closing costs than if you get that house for, say, $485,000, but they're giving you a $5,000 in closing cost and they're buying down a point.
Yeah.
Because your overall payment is going to save you every month. That's going to add up more in the end and save you more money in the end than just giving you an extra $5,000 or $10,000 off the purchase price. That's just less on your loan. How much is saving $10,000 on your loan, Dan? $1? $1 saving on your payment? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, $10,000 is not a lot. I mean, it is some.
But if you apply it towards buying down someone's rate, then that's a different story.
Yeah, because it significantly drops the price.
Absolutely.
Because now you're looking at a half a point, 3/4 of a point versus, say, a quarter of a point, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's on the table, right? And then everything else, I see a lot of people writing offers where they're coming in significantly lower. Is that always happening? I mean, because those move-in ready homes.
That's the shift of the market. I mean,
I see it.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, that's what buyers do when they feel that they've got the upper hand. Which is they write lower offers. And to me, it's the same thing. Buyers are figuring out what they can get away with right now. Like I said last week, it's buyers and sellers right now are kind of figuring each other out.
Yeah.
Right? Sellers need to get rid of the mentality of it being 6 months ago. 6 months ago. But buyers need to not have the mentality that it's next year and things have gone down 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
Because even if it is next year, I don't see things going down 20 or 30%. But regardless,
well, let's talk about that.
It's it's a discovery period of what they're trying to figure out right now.
So right now we know what sellers and buyers and everybody, how they're working together cohesively to try to make a deal work, which is very challenging in this market because I feel that the sellers have a certain threshold of what they can't sell. Like sometimes they just can't sell that house for too low of cost because they may need it for another house after that.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just are like, you know what? I put a lot of money into this.
Well,
Now they're in their mind, they're thinking this is, man, we were just up this high. And I understand it's artificially high right now, or it was.
Yeah.
But we could have got this. It's hard to swallow. We're losing out on, we could have sold it for $60,000 more than what we're selling it for now.
well,
I think it's a problem.
let's break down the numbers. So you have, say you buy your house in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, at the end of the day, it's a demand and supply game,
Right.
correct? So the supply is this. We already had an undersupply of what we should have had.
Right.
And even when you have more homes coming on the market, think about this. We had home buying activity depreciate 30 to 40%. Yet, you've only had homes, at least in Las Vegas, only go down 3 or 4, maybe 5%.
I see.
What does that say? There was that lack of inventory on the market that even when you have buyers cut in half for their activity, it still really only dented the home prices a little bit. So then you've got that line in the sand as a seller, which is, yeah, I want to sell my house, but I've got this really great interest rate and I've got all this equity in order, unless it's a situation where I absolutely have to move for a reason right now, it's not really advantageous for me to want to go about moving right now or selling right now. Now, if the price is right, yes, but at the end of the day, that's kind of their mentality. While at the same time, you still have a certain amount of people moving here every single month. These people need a place. They have 3 options. They can either move in with somebody who already lives here, rent, or buy. Regardless, they're still moving here every month. And that number of people moving here every month, combined with the people that already are looking, even if that number's in half, is not keeping up to the supply. Those are the numbers.
So here's where I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm not going to call anybody out on this, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what you deal with every day in the trenches as we deal with. You have people calling us going, hey, what about this? What about that property? What about this, price? What about this rate? What about this? Here's the thing is there's a lot of people that call, and I feel like I hate to say it, but there's that terminology of looky-loo, right? It's, yeah, I'm interested, but are you really interested, right? And there's different levels to this. There's different levels to how interested people are in the market. Now, there's nothing wrong with calling somebody and being like, hey, man, I got this. I want to try to get into this market. But it's me asking just a few questions tells me exactly where that person's at. I have people call me and go, yeah, what about this house right here? Or what about this? Or what about this cost? What's this payment? What will be this? And it's like, look, here's what I want you to do. Are you ready? Are you ready to go look? Are you ready to do these things? And typically what happens is people have a small interest in the very beginning where they're like, I feel like they just have this whole, hyped up position where they're like, I'm ready. And then it's like, are you really ready though? Because you start to see just the fizzing out. Yeah. All of a sudden you don't hear from them. All of a sudden it's like, hey, I'll let you know, or what's going on. And it's weird because it seems like that's kind of where we're at with buyers right now, where they're not 100% in. They're just kind of maybe 25% in.
Listen.
And it's like, hey, what about this?
Listen.
Right?
When it's 3 a.m. and I'm sitting there with my soda and my bag of chips, and I'm watching that workout video, you're damn right I'm ordering it because I'm gonna have a 6-pack in 6 weeks, just like I'm watching that video. And then what happens? I continue to get fat. Right. It's the same mentality.
Well, I'm just trying to kind of go in, because I always think about it from the mindset of consumers out
Yeah.
there. So why does it take time for consumers to kind of digest this market, digest what's going on mentally? Because I feel like that's what's happening.
Because
it's just such a process before you're like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this.
So you have to keep in mind that just the home buying and selling process in general is something that most people think about for a while, as they should. But most of the time, it's not something where you just wake up and say, I'm going to move to Las Vegas and buy a house. And just like, it's something that's been thought about, planned about for a long time.
Yeah, but do you call a professional and say this, hey, I need your help. I'm looking for this. I want this. I want that. And then you send it and it's like, all of a sudden it's crickets, right? And you're like, well, wait a second. You called me. I didn't call you, right?
Well,
and you're asking for information.
I would have to say that the odds are probably higher for this business, just like, say, a car, right? When I bought my Jeep Wrangler a couple years ago, I went on a few different websites. I was like, and then the more I kind of looked at it, man, the idea of taking this thing out in the mountains is awesome, lifted and all that stuff and blah, blah. And I putzed around on the idea for a couple of months. And then finally one day I was like, okay, let's do it. You know, I could have at any time, but it's like, it's a decision you kind of need to arrive at and think about for a while. So some people may jump the gun, or they may be in a position where they think they need to jump the gun, and then something happens and they have a little more time, or who knows, man. Like, the more I do real estate, the less I kind of understand how people work sometimes, man.
When I'm buying something, Noah, it's like I'm not going to call somebody.
Well, it would be different.
Unless I'm really fully invested in buying, for the most part. Let me explain. So if I'm going to take the time to go seek out somebody or find something online and say, okay, yeah, this is exactly the person I want to work with. This is what I want. If I call them, I'm going to say this. Okay, you know what? I thought about it. I'm going to wait a couple months, or maybe now's not the right time. But sometimes these people just go quiet, and it's weird. It's almost like they're just at that time, at that moment, they were all in. And now they're not saying that. Now it's like, hey, you know what? They're not all in.
But you don't know what someone's situation has changed. You don't know if it's changed, or what if all of a sudden they're sitting around and they're talking to their cousin. Their cousin's like, oh, I know this other realtor did really well for me in Vegas. And then they start using them. Like, there's a million different scenarios. To me, if someone has questions about something, I would rather be the first person and the only person they call and be their initial call. Even if they're not buying for 6 months out and they just have some initial questions, I'd rather be the go-to person if they want to ask that for. Now, it's different if we're going out and looking at 9 or 10 homes,
right,
and they're not even qualified and they've made, then that's a different story. But as far as giving you information and getting you along for the process, hey, if you want to buy right now, that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love that. But at the end of the day, that's not most people. It needs to be a process. And I'd rather be the first person then that they call to get those questions answered.
Well, let's go into this and we'll try to dive into what's happening here. I'm going to take a look at, let's go look at the real estate news, right? I want to talk about what's happening and look at some of the numbers. So let's go ahead and go over here to the browser here. And I want to bring this up. So first off, let's take a look here.
That.
Let's take a look here.
Just look at it.
Yes,
look at that.
Look at it.
Look at it. Will you look at that?
Yeah,
look at it. Just look at it.
So let's bring this up. So the first thing I want to bring up is in August of 2022. This is this year. This is the numbers that we see. And this is what happened this last month. 202 units sold. You had 4,008 new listings. And number of units available, 7,997. Now, I'm bringing this up because if you go back to February, or if you go back to February back in a couple months ago, look at the units available now here. And look at the price point, right? The average price point. So this
was last February?
This was last February.
Okay, now go to now.
So now we have over almost 8,000
units.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah. So, but that's what we needed, man. That's what we needed. I mean, people don't understand how severely in a drought we were with homes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a seller's market when you're 3 to 4 months, 2, 3, 4 months. Say 3 to 4 months is a good seller's market of home supply in the market. We are at half a month.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Dude, in 17 years, I've never seen a 6 months, a half a month supply.
So now we have 4. Look at that. Now we have 4 months supply. So now we have 4.
But that's still not technically a swung to a buyer's market yet. I would say 5. If we go on 5, and then especially towards the higher side of 5 going into 6, then for sure.
Now look at this is just in February. This is not that long ago. And then you got here, right? So this is August. Obviously, we're looking at August. Yeah. So we had 3 months supply. We had
I would say probably the beginning, middle of May is when it started switching.
Now, look at back then we only had a half a month supply for.
That's what I'm saying.
Condos and townhomes. Now we have 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So we'll continue, but it's just amazing. I wanted to bring that up because it just tells you how much difference. Yeah.
We just pointed out the difference of the new amount of percentage of listings that are on the market compared to 6 months ago or in February, right?
Right.
Now, what is the home prices compared to February?
What are the home prices compared to February?
How much have they gone down?
Well, I don't think it's too crazy, but it's
exactly
right. So you look at this. Look at here's
so
February.
You have 3 to 4 times as many listings, and home prices really haven't changed.
Well, here's 465, and then today we're at 41. Wow, that's actually gone up. We're up 13%. How is that?
Because you're comparing it from last year.
Yeah, but
not
think about
last month.
No, I'm comparing it to February. of 2022. So in February
This is
22.
from February?
Yeah. So this was February's pricing at 465 from what it's saying here on the MLS. And here we're looking at it and it's August of 2022 and it's saying the average median price right here is 481. Now the average median sold price is 450 and here it's 450.
So that's just
so
the
it's
list
exactly
price.
the same. Oh, yeah, listing, right. But the sales price is the same.
Yeah.
So it's nothing's different.
That's what I'm saying. So we literally have an increase of 3 to 4 times as many listings and the sales price has stayed the same or roughly around the same.
Yeah, it's
Again,
crazy, man.
it comes to like it's not rocket science. And maybe not the numbers that people want to hear, but it's the truth. The numbers are that there's not that much supply. And it's at the end of the day, economics 101. It's always about supply and demand. Just like home prices going up or down, or stocks going up and down, or crypto going up and down. It's because buyers and sellers determine what the price is.
It's exactly right.
Not us, the
Not
buyers and sellers, the consumers.
So let's go ahead and look at this. So we have the units sold in August right here. This is single family residence units sold. This is 2002.
2000.
Average median price, again, sold. These are solds, 450. We're down 3%, right?
Okay, yeah.
Growth from August 2021, 11%. So look, like I said, you're still seeing it, but it's slowing down.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing
So
those huge drops.
here's exactly what we mean, though. So every month you can have it's gone down 2%. Next month it's gone down 3%.
Right.
Next month it's down 3.5%. That's all coming from the other number of it gone up 15%.
Right.
It went up 10%. It went up 12%. So
here's the big number, though. This is what
You
I want to
know.
bring up. You could see we're minus 37% year over year in sold units.
yeah,
means-
that's what I'm saying. We're literally down almost 40% for active buyers. Yet home prices
crazy,
have stayed
dude.
around the same.
Yeah.
You can have an opinion what you want, but it's just an opinion. These are the facts.
Right.
I'm sorry if the numbers don't agree with what you want to say with a doomsday scenario, but
Well, and then
it is what it is, man. At the end of the day, it's supply and demand, and you still have a number of people moving here regularly every single month. And like I said, they need to either rent or buy. It's one of the two.
so
So either have a number of homes keeping up with that or you don't, and we're not.
you go back here and look at. We could see this right here. This is January, and then it was going up. Here's February, and these are the numbers that follow with it. But look at, you could see this sharp decline now. This is the sales price coming down. Now, how much is it declined? Not much. I mean, it's gone from like 485, 490, 490, something like that, to what 450 is what you're seeing the
Yeah.
average sold.
So
right?
that's not the difference. The difference is not so much what you're paying for the home, because that hasn't changed that much. The difference is your interest rate. Because last year at this time
Right.
to right now, the interest rate, a home dropping 15 grand isn't a big deal. An interest rate going up 2-3% is a huge deal.
Huge deal, yeah. Yeah, and then let's go over to this one here real quick. I want to say time on the market for units sold. So you're looking at 71% is still 0 to 30 days. Is still selling within 30 days,
That's
right?
crazy, man.
July was 83%. August of 2021 is 87%. So
Of
look,
last year, yeah.
even with this, we understand that this makes a huge difference, right? With the rates being
So
higher.
here's another number.
It's still 71%.
If 72% of homes are selling within the first 30 days, home prices aren't going to drop that much.
Exactly. That's my argument.
Yeah.
Is it's not saying that it's the same market that we were in, but
Yeah,
people are still
it's not.
buying. It's just not buying at
That's
the level.
why I think
and at
now
the
is a good
pace.
time to buy, despite what people leave comments and say, these guys are crazy. Why are they saying that? Because you can get the terms that you want now as a buyer, man.
Well, I'm gonna bring something else
I
up,
understand
too.
the counterpoint is the higher interest rate, but what? So you're gonna wait another because you think that interest rate's gonna go down to 3% or 3.5%? That's not
Right.
going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to happen anytime soon at all. And I do feel like we're going to keep going up before we settle down into a rate. Now,
I do too. Don't get me wrong. I do
Yeah.
too. I feel that it's still going to be very much advantageous for a buyer until probably halfway through next year.
so I want to say this too, is that you look at all these homes on the market, you look at the prices and you look where things are at. For me, I'm looking at this trend, and we'll talk about the numbers of closings here in a second. But I don't know. I mean, I just feel that people out there still are on the sidelines. A lot of them, a good majority of them. But I don't feel that the people, like you said, that need to buy are really just pulling all the way back, right? There's people out there that still need it, but you're looking at these properties, you're looking at these rates. I mean, what do you think is going to happen with this situation? You know,
I think the interest rate's going to stay the same. They're going to go up, not drastically, but they're going to go up some. So here, you know, I mean, the Fed even said it is what they're doing right now is because of what they had to do for COVID.
Right.
So what did they do for COVID? They injected a bunch of money supply into the system. Now they're saying we want to take away some of that money supply in the system. How do they do things like that? Bonds. What's bonds? You hear government lock up my money for a certain number of time. They're taking money out of the supply.
Right.
That's what they're doing. You know, so it makes sense on that. So I think they're not done doing that yet.
Let's go back here to this. So we have single.
I'm not an economic,
economics major.
I'm not an economist.
Yeah.
But you know.
All right. So listen, let's talk about this. So single family residence trends, number of closings, 2,002 units. We talked about the -3 from the prior year, 37% down year over year from 2021. $450,000 right now is the average median price for a house.
That. In 2015, it was $200,000.
I know. Look at this.
Holy smokies, dude!
Yeah, so it's plus
That's
11%,
insane.
still plus 11%, but we're down 3%. Now, I would say we're about what? Would you say we're about 10% where we've declined in the average median price this year so far?
Yeah, I would say that's probably good. I
Close.
mean, homes that were probably selling for $575 are probably selling for $510, $515 now. Homes that were $500 you could probably get for $425, $435 right now. So maybe a little bit more. So just depends.
Yeah. Also,
how bad
I want to bring
sell
this
your
up
house right now.
right, and then let's take a look at this. So you got single family market trends. So we see the number of listings. We're going to go through this really quick, but you can see, we're down a little bit lower. We were actually peaking up towards 5,000 homes for new listings a couple months back. That was probably going to be in June, but we're starting to come down. Maybe the impact from people thinking that they're just, hey, you know what? I got nowhere to go. Rates are high. I'm not getting what I thought I was going to get. And am I really going to get into a better situation? So maybe I just stay put.
That's what they're contemplating, which is I need a place to live regardless, if that's your scenario. And are things going to get better? Or are interest rates going to get any better? Or is it, or if they do, how much better?
Right.
Is it worth my scenario waiting for something that might not really get that much better? Or if it gets worse, to be honest, probably not that much worse. We're roughly around a sweet spot right now. It could go up a little, it could go down a little, but I don't think see it extremely jumping up. I don't see it extremely going down. I think that the Fed's got a while to work itself out, and that's what they're going to do.
So let's go over here. You have the availability, 7,997 units, right? So this is up 145.6% year over year, plus up 9% from last month. Look at where this number's at, though. We're at 8,000. When's the last time?
Didn't it?
Well, look how far it's been, or how long it's been since we saw this.
2015.
Back in 2015. So it's been 7 years since we've seen this amount of homes.
Okay, and then look what happened after every time. Down.
Yeah, down. It's
down.
Up and down. Well,
yeah, so,
this was contributed right here, though, because of COVID, right? Because we saw that.
Hopefully this is going to stay around here for a year or two, man. We'll see. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's not like you and I want to see home prices go extremely up. I mean, we live here too, Dan. We're paying mortgages. We're paying mortgages too. We're paying for the same homes that everyone else is. So if it goes up for everyone else, we don't get like a discount because we're a realtor.
It's just here's where I'm really. It's like the numbers really show in the data is you see this right here back in 2020. This is probably right before COVID.
Yep.
COVID hits, boom, right? Comes up a little bit, boom. All of a sudden, like you just have real low supply from 2020 to 20, and all of a sudden it just shoots back up.
Double bottom right
just
there.
Like crazy right there, right? So
that's a W right there, bro.
And look at this, time on the market, 30 days or less. You're still 71% of the time we're closing less than 30 days. And everybody says, and you've said it, is a healthy market is actually over 30 days, 30 to 45 days. We're still selling pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Let's go back over here real quick.
Because I think
days on the market.
The sellers, especially the last month, have caught wind, and it's kind of like, hey, if I'm going to put my house on the market, I'm going to price it aggressively.
Yeah.
Because I just want to get it sold right now. So I think that's what you're starting to see. you had that first couple month or two where it changed so quickly where sellers were like, no, they didn't understand that the market wasn't where it was when they were going to list it a couple months before that.
So
now they know.
Yeah, exactly. Here's my thing too: is look, there are 25 days now, average days on the market. We see this increase significantly.
What was it right there?
So right here, it was like
15 days.
15 days. You know, and
I'm surprised. 15 days even seems like long. Because, I mean, there are homes like 2 days with 20 offers, 50 grand over, dude.
So look, you can go back here. That was on the average. So if you want to go back and look at the median days back in March, look at this. It stayed like this for like how many months?
Crazy.
Like 4 months?
7 days.
So look, I mean, what we're saying here in this video is that we're seeing a good sign that we're seeing more properties. We are seeing good signs that there's more availability and buyers are out there now. The bad part is that rates are high, and the bad part is that home prices have really sustained themselves over the last even couple weeks, couple months, and so people out there trying to buy a house, it's difficult for them right now because they're looking at it going, well, I can't justify leaving my house or leaving rent, right? That is significantly less, especially if I want to go buy new or whatever it is. So it's a real challenge right now. It's like a tug of war. Like, do I really want to go into a house?
Well, I would say if you're contemplating whether to buy a house right now or not, I say relax. You've got time. I mean, that's what you do have in your favor right now, which is I don't see anything changing drastically overnight.
Yeah.
So if you want more time to think about it, to weigh out your options and see what's better for your scenario, I mean, you definitely have time on your side. And if you're on the fence, you have continued time to be on that fence right now. You know, it's not do or die. So that's kind of what's in your favor. You've got a little bit of time to kind of sit back and logically think about what's best for your scenario.
I'm going to say this. So one last thing here. We're not going to show you any more stats. I think we've gone over what's most important.
As fun as those were.
Yeah, right. Let's talk a little bit about this, though, Brett. So you have a lot of agents out there that's like, hey, dude, doom and gloom. Things are going to crash.
Because it sells YouTube's videos.
Well, that's what
videos.
it does, right? And so, like,
I won't be that man.
Would you like to be that type of agent where
Nope.
you not it's not that it's fear, but to get eyeballs on you, will you
Nope.
put information out like that?
Nope.
No.
Listen, man. I've been filming videos basically every day for 2 years, and I only have not even 500 subscribers. So if I wanted to go that route, I would have done that a long time ago.
You want it organic.
I want organic, but that's just not who I am. It's like me as an agent. People use me and repeatedly use me because I'm right to the point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm nice, I'm professional, I know what I'm doing, but I'm not gonna bullshit you. I'm gonna be honest about the scenario and the situation and all those things. And people appreciate that in real estate, man. So I'm kind of the same way with my YouTube and what I talk about is we sit here in this podcast and might not be what people want to hear, and I might not go along with that gloom and doom scenario. But these realtors, to me, these realtors who are saying that are full of shit. And they're doing that just to get subscribers or get eyes on their channel. And I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, dude. And that's how I look at it, too. I don't look at it like, oh, okay. Because you know what, man? Here's what I look at is I want people that are serious. I want people that are going to come to me and be like, hey, you know what, Dan? I want to use you because I trust you and you're
I want people to use me because they see value in me.
Right.
For no other reason. Because you feel that by using me, you're getting value by using me. That's why I want you to use me. If you don't see value in me, then what's the point, man?
Right, exactly. Let's go back over here. I want to say this. So this is over the last 7 days. And if you look at this, you can see this aligns with where we're at here with what's sold, the 450. And you even have what's closed sales is 443. And your list price is 470. So you're seeing this is over single family residence homes. That's really what I focus on.
Yeah.
So this is going to be 470 under contract, right? That's the average list price.
Under contract right now, 470.
Yeah.
Well,
but here's what's sold.
Keep in mind that you don't know what the sold price is. It could be the average price could be under contract at 470, but the average close price could be 450.
100, and that's exactly what my point is. Yeah. That you could see these list prices, you can see these numbers. Mm-hmm. What is the final negotiated price?
Nothing until it's closed.
Until you get, you might have a counter back and forth, like, hey, you know what? So, and then also, if you're giving closing costs, you can't really say, well, I'm not saying that the numbers wouldn't show it, but you can't say you're profiting.
Well, there's
that much,
a section
right?
on the MLS that shows if there was a credit given, but it's not applied off the purchase price.
That's
correct.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not applied off the purchase price.
That to get these properties sold might even take more. So the last question I have before we transfer over and we'll talk a little bit about crypto and check out of here is how far do you think these prices are going to go at this point? Do you feel like they're going to go down to 400,000? Do you think we can hit that mark on the median price, or you think it's kind of stabilized?
So the average price right now is what, 450?
450. Now it's saying 445, I think here.
Yeah. You know,
no, it is 450 here.
So going down another 10% would take it down to around 4.
Here's the thing,
You
though.
know,
Look at the
450.
close price. So it's got a list price here of what's sold. This was listed at 450. Here's what's sold at 443.
443.
So it is going down, right?
Yeah.
I
You know
mean-
what? I mean, at the end of the day, I think it might settle itself out at the very bottom and start going back up. Maybe 410, 415, somewhere around there. Give or take 5 or 10 grand. But I think somewhere in the low 4s is probably, if it's going to continues to go down, that's going to be where it hits. And then that's because 400,000, 410 for a house is going to be basically where it was probably a year and a half ago or before things got too crazy. And now you can throw in some buyer terms for yourself too, which makes it even more advantageous.
What are you going to say to those people out there that say, you know what? These guys don't know what they're talking about. We're going to go for a crash, and I think it's going to be 50%, 80% decline. What do you say about that?
They have every right to believe that if they want. I would say that I do this every single day of my life for the past 17 years. So it's coming behind what and I'm using numbers. So listen, people are going to believe what they're going to believe, man.
Well, I think
if someone's got a doomsday scenario, here's the thing.
I think it's more about hope.
Well, these people. So I would say this. I would rephrase it and say, okay, you're wrong. We're heading to a crash. I would say, what is your version of a crash? What does that mean to me? What does that mean to you? Describe that to me. Is that 30% lower? Is that 40% lower? If you're telling me that home prices are going to be sliced in half, you're wrong.
So we saw that, but that was when it happened with the short sales and the crash.
But that was we all know what was different behind that.
So I think a lot of people that are hoping for that, like you said, you're selling YouTube, right? You got a lot of people out there that are following these people.
I think that people who are always waiting for that market never end up buying. In my personal experience in 17 years, and the people that I've spoke to with that doomsday scenario where they're always waiting for it to crash, never end up buying. And if they would have bought, they would have been able to have a place to live and made equity. But that's my experience.
All right, let's go ahead and move over. We're going to go over. I agree with you.
Everyone watches right now is like, he's so wrong.
All right,
they're getting out their angry comments right now.
Let's talk about what's happening
Bring it.
in the crypto space, right?
Okay, I'll settle down.
No,
I just want to talk about a few things. So the Fed, basically, Congress has put pressure on the Biden administration to want to enact and basically come up with some laws and rules and regulation for crypto mining. More specifically, proof of work, which is how you mine Bitcoin.
Okay.
And they basically want to try to make it illegal or put pressure on the Biden administration to make it illegal. At the end of the day, it's because they can't control it. And if they can't control it, then they want to ban it. But you're not going to be able to stop it because then it'll be anywhere else in the world.
Right.
China tried banning mining, and all they did was set up shop somewhere else around the world. And in my mind, what I think you're going to have, which is this is a lot of third world countries and second world countries who have never really had a chance to compete. In the next 10 to 15 years, I think that if countries like the United States and China and parts of Europe want to ban something that's inevitable and is going to be here regardless of whether they want it to be or not, is not going to work in their benefit. And what it does is it allows countries like El Salvador, who has made Bitcoin their legal currency, and you allow them to set up shop with all the mining, and now they're using it for their currency, and they're basically the main creator of the new coins of cryptocurrency. You give them a 10 or 15 year head start, and guess what? That's going to really give a lot of these third world countries chances to catch up and be able to compete in the new global economy that they would have never been before.
So you think this is going to be a new thing where we're really going to head towards the digital currency? Where
I think there's a lot of pressure being put on Congress right now.
Why wouldn't they create their own,
SEC?
Like meaning
they want to,
right?
But that's the problem that we've discussed in the past, which is to have a central digital currency. The issue with that is people who oppose that is because they have ultimate control over you now. Oh, you didn't get that vaccine? Sorry, we just froze up your bank account because you own your currency.
Yeah.
Or you don't have this. They can attach all these stipulations to that. And ultimately, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, they're literally controlling your money. I mean, yeah, if you have it in the bank now, they can come in and seize your accounts, but you can also have cash on the side. You can also have whatever it is.
Right.
Just like Bitcoin, you can have that in a hard wallet.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, all it is another way for them to facilitate control on you. I mean, they literally created your money and control your money digitally now.
Yeah.
Now they don't even have to call up the bank.
Right.
They can just yank it. They can do whatever it is. And if you think that's full of shit, look at Canada and those truckers that they had at the beginning of this year. When those people were giving Bitcoin to the truckers who weren't going to get vaccinated. And the government of Canada came in and went to all the cryptocurrency exchanges and froze all of those accounts. So those truckers couldn't get that money. That's because when you put your Bitcoin and cryptocurrency on an exchange, it's not, in a sense, somebody can control it. Because you're giving the exchange your password to control your cryptocurrency.
So what would be considered an exchange? Like where would...
Like Binance, Coinbase,
right?
All those. Every single cryptocurrency, basically any way that you can trade cryptocurrency right now is an exchange. But if you just have it on your hard wallet, you are the only person that, in a sense, has your password to your email.
So in Canada, they froze it, right? So you're saying that if I get paid in Bitcoin, it's given to me. Mm-hmm. How is it given to you, basically? Because
what they did was they put it all in the fund, but it has to be stored somewhere.
Okay.
Right? So if you want to store it publicly, in a sense, as in other people can have access to it, you can put it on an exchange. But when you put it on an exchange, you're essentially giving the exchange, or you're giving public access.
I know, but here's my question on this. I get what you're saying on the exchange. If I was somebody that was getting paid Bitcoin, I'm just curious.
Sure.
I go and I'm an employer, and you're my employee.
Yep.
Right, and I'm giving you money with Bitcoin.
And you're paying me in Bitcoin.
Right. So how do you pay somebody if it's digital in Bitcoin?
You send it to my wallet.
That's it.
Yep.
So there's a direct sent to your wallet, and it just sits in your wallet.
Yes.
Now, what if the government's like, hey, well, you can't, like,
if you have your wallet hooked up to any sort of internet connection, any sort of exchange or something like that, the government can seize it.
So then how do you spend it?
You take it out of your hard wallet of what you want to spend. So say you have like $1 million Bitcoin in your hard wallet, but you want to spend $50,000 of it. You take 50 grand of it from your wallet and you put it on an exchange, and then you sell it on an exchange. But you only need to put on what you want to spend if you want.
I see. So anything else?
No, man, that's it. Just, government up to the usual stuff. They can't control it, so they want to ban it. And that's just,
And you're part of some big
oh, yeah. Also,
right?
I wanted to say, too, which is, so I had the creator of Litecoin, Charlie Lee, hit me up. And they have the Litecoin Summit that is going to be happening here in Las Vegas, I believe October 21st and 22nd. There's going to be a massive amount of world-renowned speakers that are going to be there. And everybody in the Litecoin community is getting together for a couple of days around the world. And we're going to celebrate and have fun and get educated and everything. So anybody who wants tickets to that, let me know. I can give I think they're giving me a 20% discount to give to everyone. So tickets are about $250.
Okay.
And we can get you a 20% discount on it if you contact me. So just let me know. I would love to see you there. I mean, Dan, you're going to be there with me. What did I text you the other night?
You said make sure that you're going to have a full night ahead of you because.
And I said what I say. I said make sure you take the next day off.
Yeah.
Because we're partying, bro. We're gonna have fun. So who wants to come party with us and learn some cryptocurrency, man, and hang out? Hey, I mean, dude, you're gonna have world-renowned minds in the cryptocurrency world there.
In that space.
And we're going to be getting drunk with them.
Yeah. And then we're going to be like, hey, man, where's your wallet at?
Yeah. People far smarter than us, but it's cool because they all like to drink the same.
Yeah, right? All right, that's it, guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. You have anything else to say?
That's it, my man.
All right, so you guys out there, if you guys have any questions about what's going on in the real estate world, I want you guys to, and lending, but real estate, take a look at this website. It's a great place to get started. It's the lvhomeprofessionals.com. Check it out. Also, we have Proppy Land. I want to bring this up. So so let's just go ahead and bring this up really quick, and I'll put this together. So Brett and I put this together where we just started it, and we're going to continuously.
It's proppyland.com.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And we're going to continuously keep updating this and putting this together. So if you guys want to get both sides of us, our front and our back side.
Yeah. Our good and bad side. You mostly get my bad side and usually Dan's good side. So,
all right, you guys want to check it out, please. We just started it. So if you guys want to subscribe or just come here, if you want to see what's the latest and greatest, we're going to really keep putting this out. Also, if you guys have any questions, like the channel, subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell. We're going to keep putting out this information. We'll be back here on Tuesday. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. I'm out of here. Thank you for watching the French Workbench Podcast. You can find us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also, check us out on our LV Home Professionals website. You can find your future home there, a lot of good information, and you can find us on audio-only options through SoundCloud and iTunes.